2003 Honda. So this one came in flat. Customer complained, of course, no AC. No history at the shop ever doing anything on this car with air conditioning before. So do a visual first. First thing is visual. My first visual was when I pulled those caps off of there, I could slightly see a UV dye under the caps. I pulled the caps off and I go, okay, somebody tried to work on this before because somebody put UV dye on. That's okay. But it was a really faint UV dye, so I broke out my UV lights and my Conroy, different spectrums, and it barely fluoresced. So I knew it came from a shop who didn't know what they were doing. They bought one of the cheap UV dyes that barely work and thinking it's gonna work, and it only works when the leak is so big it's literally just pouring out and there's a big wet spot. In that case, you didn't need UV dye in the first place. So that's lack of education on the side of the shop side, or being cheap or lazy. The leak was very obvious on this one. So let's go down here to the condenser. Let me get, god dang it, my phone's going. All right, let me see if I can answer this one. She can wait. All right, so getting back to this and showing you where the leak is. All right, it's not easy. The leak is in an area, little guys. There's the big one. So there's the big one right there. You can see the dust on it, and there's other little small ones. You could barely see them where they have some dust particle buildup on them, but they're very small. And I could see a little bit of shadowing, but you see that big one right there? That's the big boy right there. And there's another one up there. Using the UV lights do not pick up any UV dye because of the type of dye that the technician used from the shop he was at. I guess it was the bargain stuff that they could get. Give me UV dye, and they give them a price of a real good UV dye. And the shop owner or manager go, oh, I don't want to buy that. That costs money. Give me the cheap one. That often happens. And same goes with the lights. Give me the cheap light. And just because it's expensive and it might have some big tool trucks company name on it, does not mean it's good. So let's get back to this. So I know I have a leak and it's completely flat and it's condemned. Easy, walk away, sell a condenser, right? Collect money, charge for the diagnosis. Say you got an hour for the diagnosis time, it only took you 3 minutes to find the leak and walk away. No, that's not what you do. How do you know that the control system is or is not working? How do you know the compressor is or is not working? How do you know if the expansion valve? You're gonna sell a customer, that's gonna be $350, $450 to do that condenser right there. Your technician, yourself, or somebody is going to perform the maintenance and the procedures to go through a recharge it up, and then find out the expansion valve is bad. And on this one, it's in under the dash. Hey, Mr. Customer, you just spent $400 with us, but now we need another $900 to get to the expansion valve under the dash. How's that going to go over well? What's that make you look like? Don't stop there. Keep on looking. Hey, Mr. Compressor, we have a little noise coming from the compressor, and it has a really bad grinding sound now. That we need another $1,200. That's not going to fly very well. So you completely, and you don't partially charge it up and look for more, like you don't put like 50 psi in there and look for it, because you cannot find all the leaks under low pressure. Sometimes you need 150 psi, and that's where the nitrogen comes in. Throw the nitrogen in and look for the high pressure leaks, because if you have an AC system that's not running and you have leaks that are only dependent on high pressure, and they need to see that 150, 180 psi just to start leaking, you'll never find that leak with 50 psi of refrigerant. And then you have the leaks that need temperature, and they won't leak unless that high side line or coil or hose gets hot, and then they start leaking. So you need a full system to get that high. You only put in half the refrigerant charge, and your high side can only go up to 110 psi. you never got it hot enough or high enough pressure to actually cause the leak to reappear. So you fill it up all the way and you drive the high side up. All right, that's it for now. I'm gonna go and fill this thing up and see what the operation of this vehicle is that's been dead for a while with this leak over here on the condenser. All right, see you guys.